Elliott Wilson and Charlamagne's beef. Let's speak about that. And also we'll throw the complex list in this conversation as well. Again, I wasn't gonna speak about it. In my opinion, it has no validity. It's a very underwhelming approach to doing a list. Feels motivated for all the wrong reasons. And the reason I don't want to point out some of the obvious things is because when you're not on the list, they feel like when you speak on it, you crash out. So I want to stay away from crashing out. I'm more valuable to the culture when I articulate my ideas and I keep myself in a safe space, right? So let's try to do that. But let's deal with a couple of these things at the same time. For all the people out there that's listening to this that's not familiar with what I'm speaking about, Complex has a list in which they do top 25 hip-hop media power rankings. You heard my name come up last year with Charlamagne saying that I should have been on the list. We didn't make the list this year either. Again, it's intentional that we don't make the list because we're threats to the power structure. We deal with music, society, and culture, but we deal with it in a way that's not funny bunny and it's not cookie cutter. And so it's unfiltered opinions and it's led by the culture in real time. And so when you're not in control, you're out of control if you ask these people. Before we get to the list, because we'll deal with that a little bit in the middle of this conversation, I want to deal with Elliott Wilson and Charlamagne, and I want to kind of take you guys back as to where this started and kind of where it took a turn. Elliott Wilson is someone that I've ran into before. We have videos where Elliott Wilson is telling people that Loon is the future of content and podcasts, and I couldn't tell that if I look at his page. We're not covered over there, so interesting that you see these guys, they say these things, but you don't see this resonate in their real lives. I guess this is what they mean when they say gatekeep. We'll set that to the side. Loon doesn't say things when I see you just because I see you. And that goes for nobody. I mean, that goes for anybody. From the biggest artist to the smallest artist. From the biggest ball player to the smallest ball player. I don't come and shake your hand and say I fuck with you if I don't fuck with you. I'll sit over here in my little corner and do my little own thing. Like, I ain't tripping. I ain't got to be in your pictures. I ain't got to be a part of your vibration. I'll just be over here in the cut. You also got to remember I'm coming out the street. So I don't have no whole bunch of leeway for no whole bunch of niggas, no way. I'm somewhat trying to really catch my cut, and I seem like I'm antisocial, but I'm really jokative. I'm taught. I like to give game and be the center of the. I like to be the life of the party, but I can't be the life of the party when I don't know if it's a party or not. Just because they playing music and drinking don't mean it's a party. I've seen things happen in spots where niggas was drinking and got music on that nigga wasn't nobody celebrating afterwards. So you got to think that when I see people and they say things, I take those things as face value. We all men. So whatever. I have no issue with Elliott Wilson, but I do want to address the elephant in the room. Elliott Wilson and Charlamagne's situation kind of took a turn. Elliott Wilson was a little bit more forthcoming and vocal about how we felt about Charlamagne after I went on Brilliant Idiots. See, I take you guys down memory lane for people who are new here. When I first got involved with the podcast deal with Charlamagne, I went and done the Brilliant Idiots. Clearly impromptu, we had a conversation about academics. In my opinion, I was depositing some more gas into the game. I was adding to the algorithm. I was pointing out things that I thought held value, that I now can reevaluate some of those things and try to see exactly how those things turned out. But in that moment afterwards, me and Charlamagne did like a 3.5 hour interview. It did great. If you haven't, go check that out. It's up there, podcast, Black Effect Network. It's out right now. And then you had Elliott Wilson go holler at Akademiks. If you remember, right in this time, Akademiks had came out and tried to frame it like Charlamagne got on my podcast, but he didn't get on Akademiks' podcast. And Akademiks was having an issue about that. And he was saying, yo, Charlamagne, when he got on this dude podcast, and I've asked him to get on. And so shortly after he had Elliott Wilson, and what did Elliott Wilson say? Well, I don't like how he uses cosign. He doesn't use it in the right way. Now, I could have took that and responded to it then and said some things that maybe would have been unfavorable. But if you notice, all the fire I've went through amongst that time and some of the reactions from a lot of the dick suckers of Akademiks, I never responded to them. I'm 1,000,000% sure that if I wanted to make a phone call to Akademiks, that phone call can be made. I'm 1,000,000% sure of that. My issue with Akademiks is how he was handling the CBF.W and how he was handling some of the coaches, some of the things that he was adding to, in particular, like with the Takeoff situation. When Takeoff has a family and you reiterating these murders and you putting them on people and you don't really know, and then the next day you try to clear it up. There was a situation with Rod Wave where Rod Wave came out of a studio and it was alleged by the police that he had got the shooting. Akademiks did a 40-minute video about it. To this day, it's still up. 400,000 or 500,000 views. Come to find out, that wasn't even the situation. And so these guys sit on these platforms and they add fuel to the fire. But I'm the guy that go and visit the burn site. I'm the guy that got to deal with the mothers. I'm the guy that got to speak life into the young niggas with no fathers. I'm the nigga that got to give life to people that come from that avenue, from those street corners. And so my job is to direct traffic when these dudes don't know when they make it and I coach and veer off. And so Elliott Wilson took that a certain way, that Charlamagne had me on there speaking in whatever way that I was speaking. And so he found himself, in my opinion, going to bat for Akademiks. In that moment, Akademiks even pushed back on him. His relationship with Charlamagne is his relationship with Charlamagne. My relationship with Charlamagne, that's my brother. Anytime I hit him, he hit me. Anytime he hit me, I hit him back. There's not any time in between. There's not any like, this is my guy. And so imagine what I feel like when this dude saw me and called me the future. Imagine what that makes me feel like when I watch an Akademiks interview for Elliott Wilson to stick his nose in it. He didn't have nothing to do with it. Stuck his nose in it. Says, I don't like the way Charlamagne is using his cosign. He was uncomfortable with me challenging the throne. He was uncomfortable with me coming into the game saying, hey, yo, bro, get this right. Button that up. Do this a different way, bro. It's affecting things. I've dealt with it personally. I've heard about it personally. You dig? You've heard Chicago plea and cry. You dig? You've heard these people plea and cry with this dude. Yo, please stop. You making the young boys try to earn a name. It don't even resonate with him. And so by me being in this game with a voice, I felt obligated to over communicate that. I always find it interesting, and I don't know if this applies to Elliott Wilson or not, but I always find it interesting that some people are seduced with other people's success even though they've already had success. And so in real time, you will see some of these guys that's already had a run. Like you had a run. You was that guy. And I was telling someone, yo, man, like, Elliot Elliot and Charlamagne, hey, man, listen, Elliot is good at writing maybe, and I kind of took some of his interviewing abilities, but I went and looked, and I'll give him some more points. Elliot is a great interviewer. He asks great questions. He gets out the way, right? Very involved in the interview. But he can't fuck with Charlamagne the God, not on the microphone. Like, not on the microphone. But you will see some of these guys, right? They'll be so seduced by your success, they'll turn into you.